Hey guys, Katy, Candy, and Joker here with another episode of From Comics to Cinemas podcast. For those who don't know who we are gamers on Twitch, and you can see the links for those channels in the description below this video and at the end of the video as well. Make sure to drop us a follow, and remember you can catch us in the live recording of the show every Tuesday at 7 in Katie's Discord, which is where we are right now.
Hey!
Today, we are discussing the Multiverse of Madness, specifically the Darkhold and the Book of Vishanti, and because of how the trailer is looking, which is looking really good,
It's epic.
we're going to touch on a little bit of this house story arc, and a little bit of both books, right?
Yes, definitely.
Right. So, the Darkhold. What can we? Where are we going to start with this one?
All right. So I think we should start off with what the Darkhold kind of is, because it's been through a lot and it is old. It's also known as the Book of Sins or the Book of the Damned. It's basically an indestructible book about magic, power, and spells. And it was created by the elder god. I'm going to butcher this. We just talked about it. And it was like in one ear and out the other. Cthulhu?
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus.
There are too many consonants. There we go. In a row there for me to be able to pronounce it. So he's basically responsible for the creation of witches, werewolves, and vampires. Yes, he created Varney, who is the first vampire who actually manipulated the Turkish Lord Turak against Vlad Tepes, who is also aka Dracula. Now, and he is the first master of the dark arts. So I'm actually going to be referring to him as the first master of the dark arts instead of his name because I can't even say that. So the first master of the dark arts left Earth before he could be slain by the Demogorg, which is kind of the son of Gaia and the Demiurge. It's weird, I know, but it's just how the elder gods are. And then he left the Darkhold as kind of like a touchstone. So basically a way that he could still manipulate everything on Earth. And boy, did he manipulate things. He was responsible for a lot of really bad things that happened in history. But I mean, like a lot of stuff. And
pretty much most of it.
Yeah, and like the Darkhold has been around for eons. I mean, we saw it. Morgan Le Fay in the 6th century, in the 12th century, had like a huge. Dracula was 6th century. Morgan Le Fay was 12th century.
Whatever, Stone Age.
Yeah, Stone Age. I mean, she had like a really big obsession with it and wanting to kind of like do world domination and that sort of thing. But a really cool thing was, so when the ancestor of Jack Russell, who we know was Werewolf by Night, was actually kind of trying to find out about this, he was trying to summon the first master of the dark arts. And when doing so, he actually kind of became cursed. He was the first werewolf, which is kind of really cool. So that's how, Werewolf by Night and all of that got started. But when he then tried to banish the first master of the dark arts, he was kind of killed, but not really, because werewolf and all. And so as his presence was fading, as the first master of the dark arts was fading, he blessed one of Magna's children, and because Magna was actually giving birth to her twins. And for those of you who don't know, Magna was the wife of the not yet known as Magneto, and he blessed Wanda a portion of his demonic essence. And we all know Wanda grows up to be the Scarlet Witch. Now, like, the Darkhold has been throughout the comics, and it's already actually made appearances prior to WandaVision in the MCU. So it's been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Runaways, and of course, WandaVision. Now, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ghost Rider, aka Robbie Reyes, took the Darkhold to hell through a portal so that it could no longer corrupt any more innocent lives. In The Runaways, Morgan Le Fay intended to use it to conquer the Earth, but she was banished to the Dark Dimension yet again. And in WandaVision, Agatha Harkness revealed to Wanda that the book contained an entire chapter on the Scarlet Witch, and after defeating Agatha, Wanda began to study the contents of her book, and that's when, she heard her children, begging for her to come save them. So And we're going to touch base on this in a little bit, but pretty much everything Wanda does is to be reunited with her children. Like, that's all that she wants. And Strange and Magneto kind of deny her that a lot of the time. And it has very bad consequences because the more and more she's denied and everything like that, the more unstable that she becomes. So it's kind of like a really interesting thing, especially since she's kind of been touched by the first master of the dark arts. And yeah, Brandon, we're gonna talk about House of M because
kind of have to.
Yeah, we really have to, and
I have to.
I've got a feeling about House of M later on, but we'll talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that. But for every dark thing, there's a light thing, right?
Correct.
There's always the yin and the yang, right? And so the yin to the Darkhold's yang or whatever is the Book of Vishanti. And the Book of Vishanti holds the most powerful and practical spells and is a direct counterpart to the Darkhold. Now, it contains every counterspell known to dark magic, and it was written by the Vishanti, who's a trinity of benevolent beings who have sworn to protect the Earth dimension and the universe. Now, it started with Ashtar, the goddess of dawn and sister of the dawn, not Dawn. That would be like a person. But she is the goddess of the dawn, and she's sister to Gaia, who we all know is basically like Mother Earth. Now, after returning to Earth, she witnessed what a horrific state Earth was in. But during that time, she actually witnessed a blind child who was smiling and playing despite his handicap. And because she saw that and she realized that there was like hope left in the world, that she shed a single tear, and thus Agamotto was born. And we all know who Agamotto is, and that's really important. So Ashtar taught Agamotto all about the secrets of the universe, but she wanted him to take his own path and discover the world of magic. And in doing so, he discovered the 3 paths of magic and became the very first Sorcerer Supreme. This then led to the creation of Vishanti, serving as the prime protector of Earth dimensions and, the universe from mystical threats. So it's really cool how basically the Sorcerer Supreme came to be, how, all of that came to be, like people like Doctor Strange, Dr. Voodoo, Brother Daniel. Everything was created because of Ashtar and the Book of Vishanti. So it's really powerful, and I think because the Darkhold is holding such a presence right now that we have to see the Book of Vishanti somehow used in some way. Because
I agree.
It wouldn't make sense for it not to.
Especially with how much we've seen the book. I mean, we did we see the book in the first? I don't know if we saw the book in the first Doctor Strange, but we knew it was missing from the library because it was like there was a space there when they did like that pan scene or whatever. So we already it's intertwined in the MCU already. It's insanely powerful. And why does everything have a curse that makes you crazy in Marvel? Can we Ebony Blade, this book? I mean, geez, man, it's like
the book, the Darkhold. Basically, it either kills you or it takes your soul.
Yeah, there's no winning.
There's no winning.
But I love that it's tied in with werewolves. I love that it's tied in with vampires. This is why I kind of feel like we had to talk about this, because everything else we've been talking about on previous episodes, it just kind of makes sense, man. And I actually didn't even know that Werewolf by Night's ancestor was tied in until I saw your notes, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that even more now.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool how everything is like slowly being intertwined, and especially since we're getting Jack Russell and the Werewolf by Night
we're
this
getting
Halloween. So it's really kind of a nice mix of everything slowly kind of coming together. So, and like one thing I should note is like different heroes and villains have come into contact with the Darkhold, and some have walked away. Some Some have died. When Blade read from the book, he actually became Switchblade and basically hunted down every mystical being. Yeah, if you guys don't know about Switchblade, you need to go read Switchblade. It's a really good, yeah, it's a really good arc. Listen, yeah. Listen, I love me some Blade.
That's awesome. I didn't even encounter that when I was reading stuff about the book. That's cool. I'll have to go back and look that up.
Yeah, he becomes Switchblade. And then let's see. There's like this whole big thing like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wasp. Like they all read too much from the book and became possessed. Like it was really kind of funny. Like reading down, it's like read too much of the book, became possessed. Read too much of the book, became possessed. So, and then there was one, oh gosh, I forget her name. I can't, her family has basically been in charge of, safeguarding the book, and she actually gained regenerative healing powers. So, from it. So, something good kind of came from that. She didn't lose her soul. So, Verge, that would be great if you could drop the Switchblade covers.
Yeah, I remember reading her name is like, it's like Jessica or Jennifer or something like really like common, and then like you read what her family literally does, and you're like, oh, she's like the guardian. Well, I think at the time they were like
Victoria
enchanted parchment.
Yeah,
they were parchment, and it was like bound together into the book eventually. But they were the parchment papers,
yes.
and I'm pretty sure there's pages missing from the book as well that are scattered. I know Strange has some. I think the Avengers have some. They're like kind of like just everywhere.
Yeah.
So. It's in the mystic side of Avengers. Let me clarify.
Yeah.
in like the mystical Marvel universe, they're kind of alluded to a lot, and it's really. There's something else I read too. It was the Necronomicon was actually based on this book.
Yes,
so if you guys know anything about the Necronomicon, it was actually it exists in Marvel as well, and it's based off this book.
Yeah,
so.
It's basically the first evil book, essentially, if you think about it. So, and I want to kind of mention something else about the Book of Vishanti and where I think it is based on the trailer.
I think I know what you're going to say.
So, when they cut to the scene where they have the potential Illuminati and you see the Ultron drones who are not, killing Earth. I think it's there. I think that is where the Book of Vishanti is. You
think they would keep the book and the other important things that we're going to talk about later there as well? You think they would keep it all under the same roof?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't.
Well, no. I mean, that would make sense with some of the if certain characters are on the Illuminati with conceitedness and pride and everything, thinking that they're just all powerful. That would make kind of sense.
I really think it's there, or it's somehow in. I don't think it's in the Utopian Parallel, which is kind of that scene, which is where America Chavez is from.
Right.
But I could see Marvel, the MCU, putting it there just to put it there, maybe. So.
Okay. I was initially thinking Atlantis.
It could be in Atlantis.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Which I kind of have a feeling we're going to see Namor here before Black Panther 2.
I hope so, or at least a cameo somewhere.
Yeah.
I think he has to. First of all, he has to be introduced right, and second of all, he just has to be introduced. Period.
Yeah.
at this point, like we're there. We need it. We're ready to go. Like let's get this jump off point for the Submariner.
100%. Like I think we're gonna see the introduction, which we're gonna talk about, because this trailer, we're probably gonna be jumping back and forth a good bit from topic to topic and then back to topic again, just because everything is like so intertwined. Do you think they're going to take the Multiverse of Madness too far and turn off casual Marvel fans? I don't think so.
No, I think they're doing it in a right way. I think, and this is something I want to touch on later, but I think if they stick to the comic book Illuminati, it might be too much. I think if they do an MCU Illuminati, it will be enough.
I think that's what they're going to do, is an MCU Illuminati, which we might as well kind of jump into maybe the Illuminati right now.
Nah.
No?
No, not so. Yeah, might as well, honestly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say no?
Yeah, no. I'm tanking this whole podcast right now.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'll just shut my camera off.
Yeah, no, I think we have to at this point. We're kind of talking about it.
Yeah, I think we have to. And so, with that being said, I think we should... So, who we think the Illuminati are. So, obviously, you've got Master Mordo, who is different than Baron Mordo, right? Baron Mordo is a villain in our universe, but potentially in that universe, because he's Master Mordo, he's not, right? Because last we saw Mordo, he was running around killing other sorcerers and taking their power because, well, they were kind of being jerks about stuff. Or he thought they were. They might not have necessarily been, but he thought they were.
In his eyes, they were, yeah.
Yeah, because what did he say in the first Doctor Strange? Everything has a cost.
Everything has a price, yeah.
So, I think it's a different Mordo. Just the fact that he's Master Mordo. So I think he's on it.
Okay.
There's a silhouette of a woman. I think that's Captain Carter from
I agree. Yeah.
The What If series. I think that's Captain Carter. I do think that Reed is there. It would be the perfect time to introduce Reed Richards, which would then lead to the Fantastic Four, which Marvel has already said that they're going towards. So,
correct.
So it would just make sense for that to be Reed. Now, whether it's John Krasinski Reed, which I would love.
I don't know, man. He's yoked right now. He's not even like Mr. Stretchy. He's like huge. He
can call me.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, Emily Blunt.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. So what was I saying? Who's the other ones?
Getting the vapors.
So this would be a good time to introduce Namor, because Namor was, of course, one of the original Illuminati.
Correct.
And then I know in the trailer there's that one person who looks all binary, and because of the Ultron drones and that they've basically been perfected, everyone's thinking it could be Superior Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And Dro and I have talked about this, and after seeing some enhanced screenshots of it, I don't think it's Superior Iron Man.
Not so convinced anymore.
I was fully convinced. And now, I'm not so sure.
In my mind, it can be one of two people, and I think it's a version of Kang. I say Iron Lad, but like a heavily MCU modified version that makes him more like Iron Man, fit for the Illuminati, or it's Rambo.
Yeah, I think it's potentially Maria Lambeau. So in a different universe, she took the flight instead of Carol Danvers. Right. And I think that's her.
It could be.
Or it could be, which she does become Photon. So it could be that as well. Or it could be actually Monica as Spectrum. So, but I didn't even think of Iron Lad, and that's the whole.
That's what I'm honestly kind of convinced it is. I think that's how they're going to replace Tony Stark with Iron Man. It's going to be Iron Lad Tony Stark MCU version, kind of quote unquote.
That would be kind of
cool. He's got the armor.
That would actually be really cool, and I would be totally down for that, because I think that would be epic. That would be really cool, and that would make more sense too, especially with
what we saw in
Loki. And what we saw in Loki, and then how we have the Ultron drones now. So, and then of course, there's the big one.
This is a point of contention for me and Katie, actually. I'm convinced it's Magneto.
I don't think it's Magneto. I think it's Charles.
The more I listen to it, the more I can hear the Xavier voice, but I don't know, something in my gut's telling me it's Mags because of Wanda.
It could be. It could be, but the fact that he says we have to tell him the truth, and this is what is making me kind of go towards.
That's true.
House of M. So, okay, for those of you who don't know what House of M is, one, you need to read it. But
right now.
I'll wait. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to give you the short version. And yes, that was totally a nod to Spaceballs. The short version of the House of M is this. The X-Men and the Avengers decided that the Scarlet Witch was way too unstable and dangerous to live, and that something must be done about her before reality is done because of her madness. So Quicksilver, who is alive in the comics, then warns his sister about the plot afoot, and basically a white flash, boom, takes over the world, and reality is completely flipped upside down. Wanda makes the reality in which mutants are the majority and superior rather, to human beings. So she basically made the world according to the views of her father, Magneto. Now, there were two people, or two mutants, I should say, who actually remembered their past, or their past reality, I should say. Mm-hmm. And that was Wolverine, because he's Wolverine.
Because Wolverine reasons.
Yes. And Butterfly, who is Layla Miller, which we kind of briefly talked about in the Moon Knight episode, but
correct.
This is where Butterfly kind of makes sense. She basically allows it. She can snap people back to remembering the memories of the past reality. So she can have those memories restored. And so they basically move to restore the memories of the beloved global dictator, Magneto, which, can you really have a beloved global dictator? Like, come on.
No. No. We all saw what happened in Injustice. No.
Yeah. So
no.
So he is shocked and angered at what Wanda had done. So furious that furious that Magneto has now chosen mutants again over his family, she uttered the famous words, "No more mutants," causing M-Day, where 99% of the world's mutants lost their powers and reality was reverted back to its original state. So it's really kind of cool that all of this is kind of happening, because I think when those words are uttered, we need to tell him the truth. I think it's something along those lines of, Wanda's really powerful. This is why she's powerful. Her parents weren't her true parents.
Right.
She's the daughter of this really powerful mutant.
Yeah, this is the bloodline she's from.
This is the bloodline she's from. Now, maybe they don't know that she's been blessed by the first master of the dark arts, right? They may never even touch on that, right?
Right.
So, but I don't think this is going to be like a No More Mutants type thing. I think this is kind of gonna be sort of I think it's gonna be leading up to M-Day, or so far it's gonna be like the start of House of M, which would make kind of really cool sense if mutants are introduced this way, right? Where she just completely flips reality on its head, and then we all see the mutants that are there. Like, it would be kind of a really cool way for Marvel to do this, and so we can finally kind of see the mutants in the MCU.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's either heading towards exactly what you just talked about, or we're going to get a glimpse of like the M-Day timeline where like, this is why we're calling you. This is why we got to stop her, because in this reality, she kind of already did this. And, then they'll probably make that maybe the X-Men universe that we know pre-MCU. That's why mutants are gone. That's why those mutants are gone, right? Because she just went and,
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those two. I completely agree. I think it's leading up towards, it kind of has to be, right? I mean, what else could they really be going for at this point with making her as powerful and the two kids?
And that's the thing too, is like, that's what drove her. Like, she always wanted her kids, and Doctor Strange always kind of denied her that.
Correct.
So
because they knew. They knew.
Yeah. So, and everything, pretty much everything the Scarlet Witch does, it's always for her family, for her kids. And she doesn't have that like ethical, moral line when it comes to, it's all about her family. And I think
family's everything.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with Magneto always chose mutants over families, so it's just kind of those things. But I definitely, it would be a really cool way for Marvel to do mutants this way.
I agree, and like I said, even if it's whoever it is, Professor X or Magneto, either way, it is, in my opinion, that is the right way. Show the leader first.
Yeah.
Then trickle in everybody. Yes, of like, I don't want to say like an order of importance, but just show the leaders first, and then you open the floodgates for literally anything. You can do, I don't know, X Factor if you want to. You don't have to do X-Men. You can do, I don't know, so much. Just introduce them. Just get it in the MCU. Make it happen, and then we can finally all be happy about it.
Yeah. I think it would be a really cool way to do it because House of M is such a well-known story and it's such a good story that I think, and also I think what you said of showing a timeline of this is what happened, you need to not make this happen, would also be kind of a cool way to do it and kind of keep things, you know, in line and that sort of thing. So I didn't even think about that as it being kind of an alternate way. I just kind of went with, blah, you know.
No, it's something I didn't think about till last night when I was reading over some stuff. I was like, you know what they could do because they got this, and it's really because of the whole Iron Lad thing. I was like, this could be like we said, the utopian. This could be the utopia timeline where we get Iron Lad as good. He's not like evil Iron Lad. He's like basically Tony Stark, but Iron Lad as Kang, and we get the whole, because I mean, we see the magic tech, right? Like we see the runes on Doctor Strange's cuff, so we see the unison of technology and magic, which we know Tony Stark and Doctor Strange or somebody like Tony Stark has to be a part of because that's the only way that kind of stuff can exist. Let's be honest.
Exactly. So, which, you know, I mean, Reed could do that. Reed's a pretty smart guy.
Yes, Reed could.
So,
Reed, true.
So
I didn't think about that.
Reed and Mordo could potentially have done that, right?
True.
So
True.
It's kind of like a cool little thing that they could have going, because at first when you see Mordo, you think when he breaks those chains, it's like, is he attacking Doctor Strange? And then you kind of look closer at it and you're like, he's
like breaking free.
Yeah, he's freeing Doctor Strange. So you know, that's how you know he's not the Baron Mordo from our universe, because otherwise he probably would have taken Doctor Strange on for his powers.
I mean, dreads are so much cooler looking.
He looks a lot cooler with the dreads.
He looks so cool. He looks so dope with the dreads.
He really does. I'm like, dang, Mordo, let's go.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, we're getting sexy hair Mordo. Let's go. Ready.
Sexy hair Mordo.
He looked good, man. He looked like almost unrecognizable when I first saw the trailer. I was like, was that? Hold on, I had to like play it back. I was like, that's Mordo. Huh? It was good. He looked good, man. It was. He looked, and his costume was actually really cool too.
Yeah, it was. I think all of the costumes are so great, but my favorite has got to be Defender Strange.
I 1000% agree.
And
so good.
I was so excited when I saw him because Defender Strange is so cool. But like there had been people saying that statue is Defender Strange, but he doesn't have the ponytail and he doesn't have the facial hair. And Defender Strange has the facial hair and the ponytail. So it's not Defender Strange. Whoever that Doctor Strange is, we haven't seen.
Correct.
So, or
could be Utopian Strange.
He could be Utopian Strange, right? So
there's so many ways. They opened it up with this movie, and we knew it was coming. We knew, we're like, Multiverse of Madness. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. And then they gave it a little bit to us in Spider-Man, but now, well, technically WandaVision and then Loki, but really it was Spider-Man. And then now we're gonna get it in next Doctor Strange. So.
And, you know, when they first announced about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, this is how, like, my thinking has now gone. Because when they first announced it, I was like, oh, we could totally get Nightmare, and it could open up the Nightmare dimension, which then could lead to Annihilus and Annihilation. And, like, that's where I was stuck on for the longest time. I was like, it's got to be going like this. This is going to be the next big thing, like Infinity War and Endgame. And now I'm like, Maybe it's not.
And we still have yet to see what's gonna. And you know, after Doctor Strange, granted, we're gonna get Guardians and everything, and we're still like, there's still so much story to be told that we might not get it all in Doctor Strange, and I don't think we are.
I think we are.
I think it's gonna be like a to be continued story. I really do.
I think it's going to have to, or it's really gonna set something up.
Or it's gonna be 4 hours long. I don't know. I don't know. That's a lot of story to tell, man.
I would not mind for that movie to be 4 hours.
I would. Give us a Snyder cut.
Oh my God, yes.
Give us a Snyder cut of Doctor Strange. Let's go.
So, you know, I kind of mentioned about the statue. So I wonder if that's actually like the death of Doctor Strange.
Which it could be, which is something that's recent that I have actually, which is, and we talked about this before in the podcast. I have notes on this, and this is I'm just gonna read what my notes say, because this is what they put on the website. Now, and I had to go down the rabbit hole a little further. But Doctor Strange had a late visitor come to his door one night, whom stabbed Strange in the chest, killing him. That's the account of how Doctor Strange dies, according to this website that I got pulled up. So that's it. I was like, first of all, what? You can't just walk up and stab the Sorcerer Supreme, dude. You can't just ding dong, you're dead, dude, and then like saunter away and like everything's cool. Like that's not how that happens. So I did a little more diving deep because this is a current run. This is actually going on right now. I think number 1 came out in September of 2021 or 2020. Anyway, it's really recent, but the point is, okay, so here it is. Doctor Strange, so it's actually by Jed MacKay. That name sounds familiar, right? Which is like the same guy I fell in love with from the Moon Knight run that's recently going on. So I'm beginning to realize I like Jed MacKay story arcs.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm starting to become a MacKay stan. I might have to go get some of his comics at this point if this keeps up, because this is, I mean, like, he does get stabbed through the heart, but he gets stabbed by somebody that has so much power that they shouldn't exist. So it wasn't just some Joe Schmo, like, random hobo in New York that was like, yeah, give me your money. It was somebody there sent to kill him. We don't know why, we don't know how, we don't know where, but it's because like he was out all day fighting, he was using up his magic, he was out doing Doctor Strange things all day, Sanctum Sanctorum, casting spells, and he came back to relax, and they caught him off guard. Essentially, what it was, he was like, he had like a moment to breathe, and then that's when it was like, oh yeah, you're dead. So that's kind of where it's going currently, and that's kind of where it is right now. I didn't go too much into it. I just kind of read a brief overview because it happened like right before the podcast. Because I read my notes and I was like, really, that's what you're going to leave me with? Is he just got stabbed and he died? But the more importantly is that when he dies, dimensional gateways open up around the world, obviously, because he's there to protect those. So I'm guessing there's going to be a whole friends and family coming in to help Doctor Strange, and there's probably going to be like maybe a Death of Superman like homage where like all the heroes come in and like figure out his mess and try to clean it up. I don't know. I literally did the research right before the podcast, so it's something that I'm probably gonna look up more. I'm probably gonna get into. And Verge says I'm gonna keep it quiet. Shh. Yeah, it's it looks really cool, and there's what I found really, really cool that caught my attention. There's another version of Strange that shows up upon his death, and it's a younger version of Strange. But not only is it a young version, it's actually Steve Ditko's Doctor Strange shows up. So there's a little homage, a little throwback, like the OG Strange kind of like shows up, knowing that he was going to die at this point. So there's something going on there, and I'm not quite sure, but it sounds amazing. That sounds
really cool.
That sounds awesome.
I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, it's and it's actually spawned because the whole idea kind of started because the Doctor Strange movies are so popular, but the comic books are not, and Marvel can't figure out kind of why that is. So they're doing like a soft reboot and see where it lands with readers. Which this sounds like it's like it landed with me. Like I'm curious, you've got me interested. So hopefully it kind of helps Strange IP take off.
It's Benedict Cumberbatch. That's what it is.
I'm glad you said that. Okay, and I'm gonna drop this bomb right now. I think we're actually going to see Doctor Strange die.
I mean,
I think he's going to be the next one.
I think we are, because there's a zombie Strange.
Yeah, I think we're going to get he's the next, like, because the movies have kind of been focused on him too much lately, and that happened with Iron Man. The last time that happened with Iron Man, well, he's dead. So, and same thing with like Black Widow. That's like we got heavy into her story. Just okay, she said, "What do you? She's dead. Like she's not here anymore." So like. There's when they start focusing heavy, I'm like I get a little nervous, and I'm like, don't kill him yet. I'm not ready. So we'll see. That's just my opinion.
I don't know if he's gonna be dead though.
I don't think dead like Witch or Widow. Excuse me. Whoops.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be dead. I do think we're gonna potentially see him die.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's gonna be dead. I think we might see maybe like Defender Strange die when he saves Chavez from whatever that thing is, that ribbony creature.
Sidorak band looking monster.
Yeah. So I think we could potentially see Defender Strange die, but not maybe our Doctor Strange. Because
Okay.
So here's my thing too, is that Zombie Strange looked a lot like Defender Strange.
He did. He did. You're right. He did.
So I don't know if that's what's going to happen, or if we're going to have the zombie crossover, because there is a scene where Wanda's a zombie, and then we've got the Doctor Strange zombie with all the arms coming out. So
And when they're traveling with America Chavez and they're breaking through all those realities, we actually see in one of the mirrored panels the animated universe, the What If universe being it shows it. It's there.
Yes.
It's cartoon universe now. There's a contention whether it's the What If universe or the X-Men 97 universe, which I don't think they would go that deep, but if they did crack into the X-Men 97 universe, that'd be pretty dope.
I mean, it would also be kind of cool because then maybe that's Professor X.
Maybe that's how we get. I don't know, but yeah, there's definitely that tie-in with What If. If you guys haven't seen What If, it's kind of necessary at this point to the MCU, which I love how they made it. So like it's animated, but it's great. So
yeah,
I can't wait. Yeah, I hope. And here's the other thing I hope we get to. I hope we get some kind of reference to the Defenders.
I think
I've been saying that for a while now, but I do. I hope we do.
I think we could, especially if like Reed is in the Illuminati, right? Because we get Hulk, we would get oh my god, Silver Surfer, you know, Doctor Strange. So like I really think it's probable, which like oh gosh, if we could get the Defenders with which is kind of funny because like the Defenders were like the no-name team. They're like, we're not a superhero team, but you're totally a superhero team. Nah, no, we're not.
Yep. Yeah, I would like to see, spending off the Defenders topic, I would actually like to see Hellstorm introduced some way.
So, you know, Hellstorm had a Hulu series.
What?
Yeah, Damien Hellstorm had a Hulu series.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch that now.
I know. It's okay. It's not bad.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen more, but it only went like 3 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, Damien Hellstorm's there. Satana is there.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to see more of that. I don't know. And then just some other stuff I think they can do going into just anything with Doctor Strange in the universe that we've talked about in particular is this Dracula and the Montesi formula.
Oh, the Montesi.
That whole yeah. They could touch on that in Blade. They can touch on that in Doctor Strange. They could touch on that and pretty much everything we've talked about so far. They could pretty much bring that up and allude to it. So I kind of hope they do.
It kind of makes sense if they're going that route, right? Because like we're getting Moon Knight, you know, and then we've kind of opened up the door that way. And now the way that the Multiverse of Madness could be coming, and then we're getting Werewolf by Night. And Blade is coming in. Blade's already been introduced.
Yeah, he's already
here. Yeah, we've heard his voice. Yeah. So we know Blade is here. So it would kind of make sense to like go this route. I would love to see more things like that. I think
I would too, because that's basically that whole story arc is basically House of M, but with the vampires and werewolves and stuff. Because they like get rid of all the vampires on Earth, and in doing so, like causes a bunch of issues because he had laid a bunch of spells down before. So we get like raising dead. Like I forget, somebody's brother gets resurrected. It's like Strange's brother. Victor to rise from the dead because a previous spell had kept him under, but when they got rid of the vampires, it got rid of that spell. So this was like when we kind of got the whole like.
Well, and like Morbius's ex-girlfriend or whatever, he brought her back from the dead, but then became possessed because of the Darkhold. So, shocker.
Of course.
I remember why Blade read the Darkhold. So there's pages in the Darkhold. There are gonna be so many bloopers cut from this podcast. So there are actually pages in the Darkhold or spells in the Darkhold that won't work if someone with mystical knowledge who has like a training in the mystic arts reads from them. So
of course there is.
Blade actually read from it, and that's how he became Switchblade in order to have a spell work.
That's such a cool name. I'm a switch. Like that's such an obvious name.
It's such an obvious name.
But God, that's just cool, man. Like that's just to me just evokes such a cool image. Shink. But that's, I mean, it tells you how powerful it is when it can literally take someone like Blade and do something else with them. And I'm gonna look into it and see what happens with him as Switchblade because that looks cool. And that's how you get me with characters, man. Give him a cool name. Then I look in like Darkhawk. Like that's what got me interested in him as a kid. I was like, he's who? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna look into him.
He was a skater boy.
Yeah. So like it's just I don't know. I hope we see more of Dracula, though. I hope we get that more Morbius Dracula interaction with what's going on. If we don't, I'm not going to be a sad boy because I know it's coming. But I think it'd be cool if they did do it.
They should totally do it. Maybe not in Strange, but after Morbius, Strange will be after Morbius, but for 100%. So you mean like Joe the Gorilla? That name doesn't do it for you?
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. No. Kang the Conqueror, that does it for me.
Oh, I mean, that's such a like boss name. Who are you? I'm Kang the Conqueror. Like, hello?
But yeah. I don't know, man. I like the way they're going. I like the direction they're going. I'm even if we don't get, the death of the main Doctor Strange, I agree. I hope we do get a death of a Doctor Strange. I hope it's important because I think obviously he is important, but I'm not ready to let him go yet. I like Benedict. I think he's a great Strange.
I think he's a good Strange. I was skeptical at first, but I think Marvel has done a fantastic job at casting characters. Like I was like, really?
Yeah, at this point,
Tony
can you really
Stark?
question him? Yeah,
like Robert Downey Jr.
I mean, unlike DC, get your shit together. They have done a great job casting, a fantastic job casting. Like I literally I'm not concerned about anything moving forward about who they cast. They could, in my minds right now, they could really do no wrong as far as casting goes. As movies and story arcs, that's a different story. But casting, they're doing a good job.
They are doing a fantastic job, which I think we say that every podcast, but it's so true. Like,
it's just because they are.
Yeah, it's so true. Like,
I mean, they just are.
I it's so funny because like going back to Blade, when they were first talking about Blade potentially coming to the MCU, I was like, the guy who played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage, Mahershala Ali, would make a great Blade. And then like a week later, it was announced that he was playing Blade, and I was like, like my dream had come true. Like I was so excited.
That second season was actually better than the first one because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was that. Oh God, what a great role for him, and what a good job acting. And then same thing with the actor for Luke Cage. I feel like his game. I mean, it's completely tangent, guys, but I feel like his game escalated as well. That second season being put with him in the same show.
I really wanted a third season.
I really did too. I'm not gonna lie. I became a huge big Luke Cage fan after that. That was cool, man. That was really cool. I did enjoy that, and I think that's when I started kind of latching on to the Defenders and all these little, I don't want to say little, but smaller hero organizations, and I found out about Daredevil and Punisher and all that whole thing that they were doing on Netflix, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I don't have to follow the main A-list characters. I can follow these guys running around New York and just mess shit up. That sounds fun. So
I loved Daredevil. Was the Born Again storyline, which they kind of basically did the third season of Daredevil. Yeah. That was my favorite run in the comics.
Yeah, that was really, really good. Trying to think of what else, but there was something else about the Book of Vishanti I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it was. Something to do with Atlantis, and the reason why it was Atlantis, and I completely lost that thought.
I mean, it could very well be in Atlantis.
Because they knew the book got stolen from Carmitage, so that's where they put it to hide it. That's where I was going to go with that, because they know the book had gotten stolen, because whatchamacallit ends up with it in pretty much anywhere in any story. I forget his name. It's not important. He's whatever. And but I was thinking that's where they moved the book, and that's why they didn't want to go there for the earthquake, because they were they didn't want to draw any attention to there, because that's where the book's being kept.
Oh,
that was my theory.
So that would kind of make sense. I just figured they didn't want to go there because the Wakandans.
Yeah, naturally, but that would probably a an added reason, why not to go there. We have an issue, and also that's where that book said we don't want anybody to know where it's at. So
actually, you want to know a fun fact about a sorcerer supreme and the Book of Vishanti? Yes. Storm's ancestor, Aisha of Balabedu. So it's Aurora, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Storm's ancestor was a sorcerer supreme.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
She was the first mortal to ever hold the title.
That's actually really dope. The fun fact.
Trivia. Fact.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. See, I didn't see Eternals, so I can't speak on Eternals yet. I haven't watched it. I will. I'm going to, but I just haven't.
You
I have
have to
nothing to base it off of.
you have to go into Eternals with a different mindset. Don't go in it like a superhero movie.
Okay, just as a fun movie to watch.
As like a movie that's setting stuff up.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the funny how the Catholic Church is always involved in mysticism and everything. They were involved with the Necronomicon in that book as well and everything.
Oh yeah.
I read that and I was like, of course the Catholic Church was involved. Why wouldn't they be? Trying to get their hands on something that could potentially destroy the earth. What the heck, man? Oh, jeez. Yeah, the Book of Sins, and it was just like, man, I just, even in Marvel, they're doing that. Sorry.
Sounds about right. You know
Yeah,
how it
it
goes.
sounds about right, dude.
But
And I
yeah,
love that it travels through time, though. That's one of my favorite things about the book is it constantly pops up throughout history. Morgan Le Fay. I mean, even in 6th century, 12th century. I mean, it just constantly pops up.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I think so. It's had so many runs, but I love like that it was used to create the monsters that we love the most, right? Like you get the witches, the werewolves, the vampires. So I really do like that. And so, Wanda, ever since she took the book from Agatha Harkness in the comics, she's not really like a bad guy, but she's not really like a good guy either.
Kind of an asshole.
She kind of does what suits Agatha. So
yeah.
So like which apparently rumor has it that she's getting a series, so that would be fantastic.
I agree.
I would love to see like New Salem and stuff, but okay, off on a tangent. And I forgot what I was going to talk about.
The Darkhold?
The Darkhold, right. So did you notice that when Wanda was meditating in oh my god, I forget where, my mind just went blank. I should really dye my hair back to full blonde.
It's at the end of the series, isn't it?
Yeah. It's when she's meditating in the trailer.
Yeah. She's doing the
at the sanctum because she's totally at the temple. But her fingers have started to turn black.
Yeah.
Which like mine look like because
which happens when you start using the book. So
yeah. So basically, she's really tapping into the book, and like I know a lot of people have said that Apple Orchard is just like a scene, like another WandaVision type, like another Westview, and I think that's 100% correct. Like I don't think where she's pruning the limbs off the trees in the orchard and talking to Doctor Strange, like she's like everything. She's like, I hurt a lot of people. Like she's not okay. Like there. That's like a makeup thing to make it appear that everything's okay, because like there's the next scene there's a cut scene in the trailer where everything is destroyed, and that's when she tells Strange, you break the rules and you're a hero, I break the rules and I'm the enemy. And it is kind of like a double standard.
No, it absolutely is.
So but
I'll have to go back and watch that because I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think she's tapped back into the book. She's made her own kind of reality around that to make it appear that she's okay, but when she's really trying to search for her children, and the book is kind of, I think, showing her where her children are. And her children, now, I've heard some people think that her children are where the Illuminati are because they have those cages, and we see America Chavez trapped in one of those cages. Now, whether or not her children are there or the book is just telling her that they're there,
In any case, she's headed there.
She's headed there, and I think that's where like a lot of stuff is going to go down, and I really think that's going to be potentially fairly early on.
Yeah, I when they zoom in with their eye and you see the two cages, that's when I was like, yeah, and you had like just messaged me about what you had seen or whatever in the in Discord, and I was like, you know what? I think she's right. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna be personally. I think they're gonna be holding it. We've seen cells like that before. Um, insert any comic series here. DC's always got like trying to like keep the metahumans from their powers,
Yeah.
and they have like power dampening fields
Well,
and like
and
collars and stuff.
her
So
and Quicksilver were kept
correct.
in cages, you
We've already
know?
seen it in the Marvel universe. Like it's literally in every universe. So we know that they can kind of quiet powers or hush powers or whatever, however you want to use, mute powers, whatever you want to say. So I do think either they are being kept there, or those were designed for her kids, and she knows they're going to be kept there, and she's trying to prevent that.
I think that's more or less it because
Yeah.
we only ever see America Chavez in the cage. And even when it shows the reflection in her eye, there's
hmm
only one person
hmm
in the cage. The other cage is empty.
hmm
So, or box, whatever you want
Right.
to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
So I don't know if they're necessarily there or if it's just some like trick or what's going on, but something's happening.
I mean, and that's the thing is Marvel uses misdirection all the time with trailers. We know this now; it's a common practice, and that's why I wasn't convinced it was Professor Xavier and it was Magneto until Patrick Stewart actually recently touched on it in an interview. He's like, "Yeah, no, that's not me. I retired," and I was like, "That's totally you because now you're hiding it, and now I know it's you because that's what Spider-Man did."
just like Ryan Reynolds, I'm totally not
Yeah,
in
man.
Doctor Strange too, and everyone's like,
I was like, if he hadn't spoken out at all, I would still be like, it's totally gonna be Magneto, not even Patrick Stewart. But the fact that he verbally had to say something about it, I'm like, now I am convinced it's kind of you more than Magneto. I don't know anymore because this misdirection crap. We've seen it before.
it would be kind of cool if it was actually Magneto though, because everyone would just kind of be, because Marvel is known to edit stuff out of movies. Like there was that whole scene in Spider-Man No Way Home where Wong said about the spell, and that never happened. So, but also another reason why I do think it's Charles is because there's in this scene for where the potential Illuminati, I'm saying they're the Illuminati. It's the Illuminati.
Right. They're the
what
Illuminati.
else could it be? There's a chair missing. Now,
Yeah.
either Marvel edited that chair out, or there's no chair there because it's meant for Charles.
Yeah. Yeah, and which would make sense, right? Because he doesn't need it. he's good. Doesn't really need one. And we see, I think we see a wheelchair in one of the cutscenes with Doctor Strange too. It's an older wheelchair, and it actually does kind of look like Charles's old wheelchair from like way back early in the X-Men series. I think on like one of the like memory scenes you see in the past where he's got like a blanket over his lap, I think. And he's like almost like a wicker wooden wheelchair or something like that, but they look kind of like that. I'm on IMDb right now, and it does show Patrick Stewart. However, it does not list his character. It just says Patrick Stewart. There's no as Professor Xavier. So that could have been an edit by a fan, considering everybody else literally has their character name next to him except for him. I'm just saying, like it's I see it there, but there's nothing else listed next to it.
Dun dun dun.
Unless he's playing Patrick Stewart as Patrick Stewart, and they're just like, whatever, bro. Here you go. Here's a couple $1 million. Be yourself. I mean, maybe. It's a multiverse.
He just starts
Maybe
playing.
Patrick Stewart's the Beyonder. I don't know. I don't know.
He just starts playing Picard.
Make it so. Tell him the truth. Engage. No, I mean it is interesting seeing him listed. So that is some kind of confirmation that he's either tied to the project or somebody really messed up on IMDb. But it's there.
Which is possible.
It's funny. The first thing that pops up is Logan. I would not be upset either way. I'm not going to be like, I honestly wouldn't be upset either way. I would love to see. I just want mutants already. I do too. Mutants.
I do too. And I really do think that this movie, whether it goes kind of a House of M route or shows like a glimpse of what House of M and M Day what happened, or anything like that, this is the movie that's going to introduce mutants, and it's going to introduce mutants in a big way, not just like a cameo here. it's going to introduce them in a big way. And so
Yeah.
that's why, like, the more and more I think about it, and the more and more that Wanda is clearly the... I didn't want to think that she was the main villain of this movie. I wanted to kind of think that it was like that, like Nightmare was gonna pop up. I was, you know, which
Some kind of misdirection going on
Yeah.
with the villain. Yeah.
like Wanda was gonna start off as like the villain, but then somehow like Nightmare was gonna pop up. But the more and more that I watched this trailer, and I've watched it a lot.
Yeah.
The more and more I've watched it, and with all the reality bending and everything, the more it ties in with What If, the characters from What If. We've got, you know, we've got Superior Strange and, or not Superior Strange, Superior Strange, listen to me.
Maybe we will get Superior Strange. We don't know.
Supreme Strange. There's the word I was looking for. You know, from What If. And we got the zombie Strange and zombie Wanda and the characters, because clearly we're going to get Captain Carter in there.
Mm-hmm.
Could the Watcher make an appearance? Potentially. I mean, the Watcher was all it. What If, and, you know, all of that other stuff. So it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see an appearance of the Watcher.
I know what, I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point.
Yeah. Because
That's a real good point.
If he was so worried about the universes all kind of collapsing on themselves when Ultron got the Infinity Stones in What If, why would he not be as worried about it if Wanda is doing all of this reality warping and, you know, all these other universes are colliding into each other, or not colliding, but dissolving into each other, so to speak. So it would just kind of make sense to me that somewhere, somehow, the Watcher makes an appearance. Unless we are totally wrong about the Illuminati. And it's not the Illuminati. And that bald guy isn't Charles Xavier. And he's actually the Watcher.
I didn't think about that at all.
Because that would make
it's not
sense.
the Illuminati.
That would make sense. That would make sense for Captain Carter. Right? For all of those ones who were left.
And the Ultron drones and everything.
The
That would actually
Ultron
account for literally
drones.
everything. I'll be damned. Maybe we get the Watcher's Illuminati. Maybe he's the one who brought them together.
It could
after
be.
seeing what happened in the Adventures of What If, because we know he liked her, Captain Carter, as a leader.
He did.
He openly stated it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we've got it all wrong. Because my next question was going to be: do you think, if it is the Illuminati, do you think this Illuminati each individually controls a stone, an Infinity Stone, like they do in the comics, or do you think that we're done with the Infinity Stones? We're just never going to see them again because of Loki, and they were basically like, yeah, bro, every reality, they're like candy, they're just everywhere.
Which is hysterical.
You know?
They're using them as
in my drawer.
paperweights.
You want some? Like, what?
Are these Infinity Stones? Yeah.
Yeah, like what?
I don't necessarily. The Infinity Stones, I think, will always kind of be around somewhere, somehow.
Okay.
But having them kind of set off as like paperweights.
Which was great writing.
That was
for
good.
the record.
That was good.
I'm not hating on it. It was good.
Was kind of like a good way of kind of being like, we're done with these.
Yeah, we're done with this story now. Moving on. Next. Thanos Infinity Stones. What? Yeah, no, we're going to get down to What If series with Ultron. You guys can just, he just Vision cuts him in half or whatever with the beam, and that's totally fine.
Which, yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, that was...
I did not expect that. When he walked off I was like, yo.
Why didn't that happen in the movies?
I was like, okay, all right. I see where you're going.
That was a real quick way to solve that plot. Yeah, okay. Well, all right, that answers that question.
Yep. All right. Well, that one's done.
Yeah.
So, which that could very well be, right? That is maybe the Illuminati that they set up.
Mm-hmm. It could be like the Watcher's Illuminati, like the Watcher's MCU Illuminati kind of thing, because he saw it necessary after with the events of What If.
Yeah, maybe it's not the Illuminati that we all know and love. Maybe it's A different one.
That's what I'm thinking, because it would like, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god, congruently, concordantly, it would make sense in the story arc.
We're so good with words today.
It would make sense with the way the story arc is progressing, that it would fit in that way.
It would.
To have him be like, all right, I'm going to put together, like, that's my Avengers is like this Illuminati. I don't know. That's something that I didn't even, not until right now on this show did I not think that.
Honestly, I just kind of like, as we were talking more and more about it and like Captain Carter and stuff, I was like, you know, they essentially kind of set something up for like this in
They did.
What If. So
they absolutely did.
Why not run with that? Even though everyone would love to see the Illuminati. But
which would confirm my theory of Killmonger being the Black Panther on the Illuminati. Oh no. Yes, I like this idea better. Oh man, I didn't think about this at all. I'm getting excited now. This could be really cool. You're right, it could be the Watcher.
It could be, and he needed a sorcerer, right? Because Supreme Strange was tasked to watch after that reality. So he went and picked up Master Mordo.
Peggy Carter, Master Mordo, everybody who he thinks is worthy. Just saw a theory on your Iron Lad. Guess could be Iron Lad. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The more you look at the picture and like enhance it and everything, it kind of looks like he's in an Iron Lad armor. Like he's in the Iron Lad armor.
Which would make sense also. Like, yeah, Maria Rambeau as Photon, you know, makes sense. But honestly,
it does.
With the way this timeline and Loki and everything is going, I think it makes more sense to be Iron Lad, you know, than Maria Rambeau. Same. But Maria
or Maria Rambeau, yeah. Well,
Photon would be great to have in there. So
that's what I was thinking. But didn't we kind of see more of her powers as which Spectrum, or what is she called?
Well, Monica is Spectrum.
Monica Spectrum. Yeah, we saw her powers more as Spectrum in the show, which I would much rather see her, I guess, introduced. And Iron Lad, go the Iron Lad route and see her introduced as Spectrum, because I'm more interested in her. I want to see what she's about. She's like, I don't know. I think she did a really good job.
Well,
she's one of the saving graces of that show for me. So
I mean, she could have also maybe one of her when she
the alternates.
Yeah, went through that hex, an alternate went off, and she became Photon and not Spectrum in that reality.
True.
Right?
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's very valid.
Yeah, so in the Westview reality and our reality, she's Spectrum, but in another reality, she's Photon. So
yeah, I would like either of those. I told you I just don't want such a superior Iron Man Tom Cruise. That's what I don't. And every video on YouTube's like, is it superior Iron Man? I know why they're doing it. I get why they're saying it for the clicks and the views. I get it, trust me. But at the same time, it's like, it's such a, I'm gonna say it. It's a trash theory. It's trash. I think Iron Lad does make more sense, and Photon would honestly make more sense too.
Yeah,
those two just in the story just make way more sense than them throwing millions of dollars at somebody for a 15-second cameo that has not, that could have possibly been Tony Stark in the original Iron Man. Nobody cares.
And I mean, we already have the actor who plays Kang, right?
Yeah.
So why not give him another Kang role? Right.
And he said already there's multiple versions of him out there that they're all over the place, and so I think we're going to start seeing him. I would love this to be the first time, and I would love for him to pop up as other versions of himself in other movies now that we're talking about this.
I think we will probably, just based on how Loki went, and if that, I think we could potentially see different Kangs pop up everywhere. Which there's also like a scene in the comics where all the Kangs are sitting together.
Of course there is.
So,
Why wouldn't there be?
So yeah, like this trailer, there is literally so much to dissect, and we came in thinking one thing, right? And now we're like,
we're leaving talking about a whole different thing.
We're leaving talking about a completely different thing.
See, now I'm more convinced it's the Watchers team than it. I don't know. I want to see Peggy Carter. I do want to see more Peggy Carter. I thought she was a great character, and if we can get to see her on screen, like with her suit and like the armor and everything on screen.
Is that why maybe we haven't? we haven't seen Haley Atwell. Is she getting jacked?
Well, we haven't seen her since she was in Shield, right? Question mark.
She was in Endgame.
Oh, she was in Endgame. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. You're right. That's right. That the little dance sequence.
Mm-hmm. She finally got that dance,
Mm-hmm.
or Steve got that dance.
Steve got but yeah, he got more than a dance. Let's be honest. Got the love of his life, dude.
Yeah, but then he kissed his granddaughter or great granddaughter.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually kind of upset they're not doing Nightmare, but I'm not like distraught about it because I kind of feel like that maybe they'll do that Doctor Strange 3 or 4. You know?
I think we could still potentially see Nightmare. There's a lot of ways they could bring Nightmare in if there's
no rush.
Yeah, there's no rush. Like
no rush.
I started off, like I said, I started off thinking it was Nightmare, and then I went to House of M, and now I don't even know where it's going. If it's actually the What If Illuminati or Council or whatever you want to call them, and not the, Illuminati that we're used to, which obviously we're not because there's Mordo. So it would be kind of really interesting to see who they are and what they're up to. I know I can't wait for this movie.
Yeah, same.
I wish it was coming out like next week.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do like just a Doctor Strange centric podcast because not that I wouldn't love to do it. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying.
It would be so long.
It would just be insanely long, and I would probably have to read for like 2 weeks straight. I would have to do whatever he did to learn the powers in the book. I would literally need to do that in the real world to learn about his history. Like, geez, the astral projection.
I think we've covered pretty much all that we can cover in our allotted time. But we would love to know what you guys think about the Multiverse of Madness, where you think it's going, because clearly it's going somewhere, and it's going somewhere different than where I had originally thought. Or who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going exactly where I originally thought. Yeah. Like, you just never know. But be sure to let us know what you think. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can catch us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Candyland Discord, or if you can't make the live recording, you can always catch the upload on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor and on YouTube every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the upload. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we can't wait to see you guys later. Bye!